Right, on Friday night, he kicked 115, not 14, but I've worked this out. Melbourne win today, they'll still stay below Collingwood by about 0.2 of match ratio. Gee, I hope I've done my figures right. But North Melbourne, a serious setback. Hawthorn play West Coast. Now, if West Coast beat Hawthorn today and beat them by a reasonable margin, then Geelong will go above them because that percentage will change. It's only 131 to 129. So there could be some movement today in the ladder, but it will be at the top. As we go and look at some of the highlights, and we go to Adelaide, and this is big plugger. Craven hitting him on the chest. Lockett going for his 100th goal for the season. He kicked 117 in 1987. He's already got 100 this year, 107. And when you consider he's playing Brisbane and Sydney at home in the next two matches, you'd fancy he's going to improve on 117. Straight through the middle. And it was good to see the big crowd there give him a big hand. This was an excellent play by Lockett. He was going to play on here, in fact got forced to, and showed his agility. He kicked a superb goal in Brisbane early in the year at the Gabba, and that wasn't a bad one on his left foot as well. Adelaide, well, they've suffered from injury, illness and suspension. Andrew Jarman was obviously suffering from a virus on Friday night and then injured himself when he came back onto the ground, and he's got an injured ankle. Let's hope he can play in the final game. Winmar was magnificent. He was almost as good as Lockett. Depends on which way you look at it. He was superb. And that was a goal. And what a finale. The siren's about to go and Big Tony's going to kick his 10th. It was a great ending for the Saints. And surely they're into the finals for the first time since 1973. Mathematically, they can still be tipped out, but they would be long odds on to beat Brisbane and long odds on to beat Sydney in the next 2 weeks. And they look certain, really, to finish in the top 4. It looks like they'll be in that 3rd and 4th playoff. Well, for Carlton,
they dared me to wear this Kicker Vic badge. Well, here it is for all you Crow supporters, but you still got killed by St Kilda on Friday night. I want to mention Tony Lockett while I'm there. In those 15 games, he's going to get a lot of Brownlow votes. He won't beat Ken Hinkley, by the way.
You're as bad as me with the Melbourne Cup.
He's had five games where he's kicked double figures. That must be 15 votes.
Well,
so
it doesn't have to be, but...
well, he should get 15.
You toss up whether it'll be Lockett or Winmar on Friday night. What are you talking about?
Oh, I meant for Lockett.
Yeah, exactly. Kelvin, you always go to the best matches, don't you? You saw another thriller yesterday at St Kilda Craig. It was a terrific match. You have sewed up a spot in the 6. I know Ken Sheldon won't admit that. What about the plugger afterwards? It must have been great celebrating his 100th goal.
Yeah, Tony was very nervous before the game and he just wanted to sort of get it over and done with pretty quickly, I think, but he was just over the moon. And
the performance all round?
Yeah, very happy. They sort of hit back at us pretty hard in the second quarter and they couldn't, you know, we just come back and we won by 9 goals, I think, in the end, so it says a bit for us. And playing in Adelaide before 45,000 fans, a new experience for you, what was it like? Yeah, they were, especially if Tony missed a goal, you know, it's just like he kicked a goal in Maradona, you know, it was as loud as that, but yeah. No, it was good.
Jared, it was a good match. It was a thriller, in fact, for 3 quarters, and then a celebration at the end for Lockett and St Kilda.
Yes, and the big highlight, of course, was not only Big Tony's 100th goal, but also his last goal, which was just a fantastic culmination of a great performance. And looking at the votes there, I have given him 3 votes. He basically destroyed Maynard, despite Maynard's best performances. He did give him a bit of a football lesson. Nicky Winmar could only slot him in for 2, but a lot of people would have thought he was best on the ground. He had Bickley tagging him, but really he was fantastic. And Stewie Lowe, his performances across centre forward with 2 players floating back there was magnificent. There's a couple of other good points for St Kilda. I thought there was some flashes of form for McAdam, who came on late in the game and start to show some of the dash that we know he has got, and coming up for the Waverley finals games, that's going to be important. Nathan Burke did well on Tregenza on the wing, although I thought he probably should have started on McGuinness, who had a pretty good game as well. And the other good points, of course, are Tim Allen, his form's been good, and Dean Gregg, who's appeared out of nowhere, and evidently he won the Hawthorn Under-19 Best and Fairest. So in years to come, we may be just looking at Gregg and saying there's one that got away from Hawthorn.
Gerard, wasn't it just magnificent to watch a pure skill battle between 2 highly skilled players in Rodney Jamieson and David Grant, and it was purely done on football ability.
It was one of the battles of the year, I'd say, Peter. It was... At one stage, Grant came out on top early, then he had a few goals kicked against him, but finally he came out on top. Actually, for the Crows, there's a couple of other highlights. You'd have to mention McGuinness, broken thumb, a bit of a niggly hamstring, and flew during the week, but his first half was magnificent, and it was best on Grant performance up until then, although Craven did keep him a little bit quieter in the second. Wiedemann was terrific. I nearly slipped him in for a vote. Wren is going to be one of the powers of the 90s. 198 centimetres tall and looks to have a great football brain. And I thought Brown did quite well in the centre.
Very good, Jared. Craig, do you feel that for a first-year team, the Crows are doing what is expected of them?
Yeah, they're going very well. It took, West Coast Eagles 2 or 3 years to sort of, get their side going, but I think the Crows have done remarkably well.
Jared, I'd like to ask, first, he also got away from Greg, he also got away from your new club, Collingwood. He trained there, I understand, also. Tony Lockett, how many goals does he have to get in a finals match for St Kilda to win? Are all their eggs in one basket?
Basically, I think he's got to kick between 8 and 10, if not more. I had a bit of an argument with a few of the St Kilda supporters after the game about that. I did say that they were a one-man team, and the reason I say that is because they haven't got the forwards, the half-forward flankers, the forward pockets that can come in and kick a number of goals if Big Plugger doesn't get them. And surprisingly, Craig is one of those players I think that could fill that breach, but we've seen him kick a number of goals in various times, but he's playing in a more defensive role. And St Kilda have been fiddling around with the forward pocket. They had Brian Wilson there initially, then they had Antrobus, they've had Dean Rice there, they've had a number of players there, and they've got to settle on a true forward pocket. And I think Tim Allen is the guy that could be the answer.
I'd like to ask Craig a personal question. I think I read it somewhere where you played soccer as a young fella.
Yeah, I started soccer when I was 4 years old and played till I was about 15.
Competitive soccer, well, where was the turnaround to your football career?
I don't know, I just used to kick the footy at school, that's all, and St Kilda come and watch me in a couple of times in a few games at school, and just lucky enough to get down there.
A pretty fair basketballer too, eh? Did you play basketball as well?
Yeah, I used to play, yeah.
Yeah.
Craig, I've been quite, I suppose, critical of St Kilda's number of times they turn the ball over. Now, I think they've got a lot of skillful players, and their disposals, therefore, should match that. Why do you think you have this number of turnovers?
I don't know if I noticed as much as you, Ron, but I think our skill level was pretty high, and we seem to hit the players a lot on the chest.
Well, getting on that point, Craig, my question's a little bit similar. I just thought it a lot on Friday night that you got the ball to within kicking distance of Tony Lockett, but you went for that extra handball or that extra sideways kick. Have you got a game plan that says you continue to run it through, or I would have thought you'd be getting the ball over the centre line and then banging it down to Lockett?
Yeah, we've got sort of a game plan where we try and run backs run out of the back line as far as they can, and so we don't sort of kick in the middle of Stewart and Tony. We try and get a little bit further so maybe it can, or another player can run onto it if Tony doesn't get it, or if the bad pass, players can be running in if he drops the mark.
Craig, initially you came into the side as a forward. Now, as was stated, that you are playing quite a bit in the defensive half. Has that been a thing by Sheldon to give you another side of your game?
Yeah, I think it was. When Kenny first come down, he sort of just whacked me straight in the back pocket and sort of went on from there.
Where do you prefer?
I prefer to be out there, but half-back flanks, I really like it now.
Craig, one guy that never gets many raps for St Kilda, we hear about Winmar and Lockett, Danny Frawley. He must be tremendous to play alongside. He's very mean, isn't he?
Yeah, he's strong and he just gives his 100% every game. You know that when you go out there with Danny, there's, he's out there to win, even though he does yell at you a fair bit.
What about the finals, Craig? It's been a long time. It's 1973, one premiership in '66. What's the feeling around the club at the moment, the feeling towards the finals?
Yeah, we haven't sort of spoke too much about it because, we've had some hard games to win to make the finals. We've still got 2 hard games to go, like Fitzroy beat North Melbourne yesterday, so we played Brisbane and Sydney. They could do anything to us, so we've still got to beat them to make the finals, so we're still trying hardest.
There must have been some air of excitement, though, on Friday night because the job's nearly done.
Well, yeah, it was fantastic, and we did maybe speak about it a little bit, after beating Crows over there, so... No, it was a little bit spoke about it for the first time.
See, the other guy I thought that played pretty well was Vidovic. I know Wren played very well. He's fitted in very well as a ruckman, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's aggressive type ruckman that we needed, and he's fit in very well.
It's going to be interesting to see whether he and Harding will both play in the final series. Harding also did a good job in defence.
Yeah, Paul's been put down in the back pocket to pick up the, the ruckman down there, so he's going well.
Kelvin?
I was just wondering, is there anyone else that's in the seconds you could see maybe able to push up to strengthen the side even further?
Yeah, there is. There's a few. We've got, I think, 14 or 15 players yesterday that played in the seconds that have played senior footy. Plugs like Jason Daniels and Mick Dwyer, who's had a few injuries. Those can always slot into a forward pocket or on the wing type players.
On the back flank, so you're going to have to be on your mettle to
certainly
consolidate.
Yeah, I'll be playing well every week just to stay in.
Craig, I'll leave the easiest to last. Does Big Plugger have to kick 8 or 10 for you to win a finals match?
I think if he kicks 1 1/4, that's 4 goals a game. That's all he's got to sort of do, and we've got other players around that can do the job.
OK, well, fair enough. I thought you might answer it like that. Good on you, Craig. Good luck for the finals, and let's hope that the Saints keep marching along. They've got an excellent chance of going into the finals with 4 consecutive wins, and the way it's set up, they probably will make the top 4 and play in that 3rd and 4th playoff. Craig Devonport, our guest, back with more after this.
The scene, Alan, and a very nice mark, very reminiscent of Nigel Smart from last week.
And here's the flying ball. Who says they can't get off the ground? Big Tony Lockett, a big mark.
And Jemison, this is a very clever mark. It's a great duel between those two, and you can see that Jemison used his skill to take the ball in. Done everything that a young fella should do. Up, takes the ball beautifully and brings it down to the ground nicely.
Well spoken.
Without any feedback whatsoever.
Make a mistake at the finish, though.
What did he do? Turned his back, Ron.
Turned his back on the goal.
Oh, turned
Actually,
his back,
he went back and kicked
he
the
went
ball
back
very
and kicked the
quickly to
goal.
Lockett.
Yeah.
Tony Lockett did that 10 times.
Yeah. See, Ron?
It's
OK.
a mistake.
It was a terrific
it's a
mark
mistake,
by Alan. Well, Peter McKenna and Kelvin Moore kicked 896 goals between them. Kelvin got 23 of them, and they're about to have a look at they're about to have a look at the goals of the week.
Winmar, a great individual performance here. He's just got great balance, poise, and above all, skill level top-notch. Maximum points, a great conversion.
The most important player in any game, of course, is the full forward, as you'll see here, the big fella Tony Lockett. One of his numerous goals. Look at that for agility. Great goal by Lockett.
A goal there. Tony Lockett leading the goal kickers by fair way now with 107. In total, he's kicked 637 in 137 matches. Went past Michael Moncrief. He's now number 14 on the all-time list. So watch out, Peter McKenna. He's coming closely. Longmire